and I think my jacket's very suave.
It's horrendous.
Apparently it's Grandma's jacket.
James, you're actually getting a first view on this globally.
Right now. You're smiling now. Come on, where's the shed? In German time, it's now 10:15. In the UK, it's 9:15. So we got here at 8:30 UK time. It took us 8.5 hours to do how many kilometres?
What do we do?
525.
That's miles. 525 miles, and that's from HQ to here. And Tom had one job, just one job the total journey, and that was to book the accommodation. And he's booked Frankfurt, and as it turns out, we are right in the middle of the red light district. Kieran is excited.
I'm very
I am
excited.
frightened. I wouldn't leave the car here. Went in there and the guy said, oh yeah, there's quite a lot of muggings and stabbings and drugs, and oh yeah, I've seen a few cars smashed up. And I'm going, what? I said, where am I putting the car? So anyway, we had to park it in a car. I'm going to sleep with one eye open tonight. So Kieran's had to go in the ibis here as a child, haven't you?
Yeah.
In a 3-bedroom, and then Michael and I. So thank goodness I packed my earplugs.
I'm like a kid in a sweet shop here.
Anyway, they're going to have a beer, and I said to them, whatever happens, I'm going to bed, and I don't care what happens. If you get yourself in trouble, don't call me. If you're not there at breakfast, I'm leaving. So good luck, and Tom's never booking the accommodation again. What are you saying about my coat?
That's beautiful.
So what day is it today? It is the 22nd of January. It's 9:30 UK time, 10:30 here. We set off this morning, just gone 7 o'clock. We stayed in an extremely educational environment last night, and thank goodness I went to bed. And there's another twin room with Michael where we could almost hold hands. It sort of took me back to our childhood, didn't it? But we've just made it to Horsch headquarters, and there's a lot of kit out here to see and look at. There's a lot of lorries, isn't there? A lot of movement. So yeah, pleased to be here and looking forward to the day ahead. And Michael's particularly looking forward to lunch, and they've been taking the Michael out of my jacket, and I think my jacket's very suave.
It's horrendous.
Apparently it's Grandma's jacket. We're at Horsch HQ. Last time I came here was 2010. We just caught up with Philip Horsch.
Is it that long?
Yeah.
Is it?
When I last came here to the HQ.
You're right, you aged quite a bit.
Am I?
Yeah, you aged
What
quite
are
a
you
bit.
trying to say?
Well, that's life, that's life. I mean, we get older.
I thought I was looking good.
Yeah, well, it depends on from what perspective you look.
Or what height? Don't look from behind because I'm going thin.
Same to me, same to me.
Yeah, well, I can't get up there.
Yeah, but that's life,
Yeah.
that's life.
So we've now made it into the secret shed where we get to see all the little projects. Which
Yeah,
are
we are in the
happening.
prototype shop.
And so we've had a good look around. We looked at all the big boys' toys and everything.
So
Now
you
we're
better
coming
don't
in.
film everything, right?
Yeah. So this is the exciting bit, isn't it? This is what you might see coming in the future.
That's right, that's right,
So
that's right.
now we've got a 7.2 metre power combination behind us with a big front tank and proper wheels on the front. This looks like a Focus.
Yeah, this is a Focus. And actually what you see here is something we are going to go public with at the Agritechnica.
Ah.
Yeah. So at the next big show in November this year. And it's the newest cow hero concept.
With this concept of
well, the roller is interchangeable.
Oh, so you can have what you want.
We have all kinds of different rollers. You could have any roller. We find out that this Güttler roller works really well in wet conditions because it doesn't compress the soil from the top. It doesn't squeeze out all the air. It leaves the soil sort of open, and it works really well. And it's
not working like a handbrake, I'm assuming.
Exactly.
It's not trying to,
Exactly. It works really well.
But are you then, by default, letting clods through, or?
It doesn't really let much clods through. Yes, I mean in terms of clod sizes, a clod like this would go through. Yes, yes, you're right. But in tendency,
because that happens to be in line with that.
There's no logic. No, that's not. There's no logic.
Okay.
It does not match up, and it's also not important that it matches up. That's the principle of the Güttler roller. It leaves a pretty open soil.
Yeah.
Doesn't compress the top surface.
So creating tilth.
Exactly.
So you're not then trying to squeeze into plasticine.
Exactly. We don't squeeze out all the air out of the soil.
That makes sense.
And that is actually critical when you get into heavy, wetter
So Philip,
conditions.
Power actually is not brand new technology. but you actually see a place for this within the army on a farm.
Absolutely.
And this is based on a cultivation-based system.
Absolutely.
And you're focusing, because this is not a new technology for you, because I have a Horsch KR6, and I'm on my second one, so I think my first one was 2012.
Yeah.
So actually, you're going back on these again.
Not back, we keep on going.
Oh, I see, you never stopped.
We never stopped.
Right.
Actually, Power Heroes were some of our first really in the early 90s.
Yeah.
Then actually in the 90s we stopped to the late 90s, early 2000s when we started with the KE. And the KE was actually a similar concept, which is a cart and consolidation on large wheels in front of the Power Hero, and then having the Power Hero on a linkage.
Yeah.
So the guidance of the Power Hero, the way you run the Power Hero is without weight interference.
Yeah.
Full tank or empty weight doesn't affect this because it runs on the large wheels. And that's a concept.
And that's letting you have a bigger tank.
Exactly.
So less stopping.
Exactly. And we actually going back now to this concept because we found a way how to deal with road limitation requirements. That actually locked us in.
Okay.
Years ago, we had to stop this concept about 5-6 years ago because of road limitation, and we now found a way to go again legally on public roads.
Yeah.
And through different means, and it works really well.
And no limitation in visually, you cannot see much of what's going on because you've got these big wheels in the way.
Yeah.
So is that a problem?
No, not at all. Not at all. Not at all. And the beauty of these big wheels is you consolidate the soil before the Power Hero comes.
You've done some of the work.
And in that way, you can run the Power Hero shallower. You don't need that much power. Because
so you don't have
exactly, because you don't have the big wheelings, in the center, and you set your Power Hero according to the wheelings.
Yeah.
No, you have a pretty even situation, consolidated soil, and you run the Power Hero rather shallow. And that really
makes
helps.
sense. Because that was always a limitation of Power Hero. People always consider them to be very slow, very hungry on diesel. But now you're talking about, in the teens in speed.
Exactly.
This is a game changer.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And we have the horsepower
and
today.
very
the horsepower is
capable of running in lots of different weather conditions.
Exactly. And different soils, etc., etc. And even in, one big topic for Power Hero combinational drills is still today the issue of, fields are never homogeneous. That's farming. Nothing is homogeneous.
Yeah.
On one end of a field there might be a sand hole, on the other end it might be heavy clay.
Yeah.
And now we try to set the machines accordingly. Very difficult. Yeah. And the Power Hero still allows us to put down to make a perfect seeding job.
Well, in theory, you go slower.
Regardless, exactly.
So if you get the really heavy clay knobbly bit, you could slow down.
You shift down a little bit and keep on going. So that's why Power Heroes are still in the market.
Yeah.
And we, of course, as a seeding specialist, as a global seeding specialist, we are into all kinds of different seeding technologies and systems. And that's why we are active in the Power Hero business as well. And we want to be, and we will stay in that business as well, in the Power Hero business.
And this is the Pronto setup, isn't it?
This is the Pronto.
And isn't this one of your most successful?
Yes. It's still the most used seeding element. It's a so-called turbo disc. We call it turbo disc. But saying that, we today offer just about 6 to 8 different seeding elements. There's actually something new coming, and in your part of the world, I would actually go to a different one.
Well, we were going to find it hidden around in one of these sheds.
You might find it. It's actually a system that has we call it autoforce.
Okay.
It's connected to an autoforce system where we automatically adjust seeding depth as we go when soils are changing.
Really?
You don't need it that much on a Power Hero because a Power Hero prepares the soil better. But on a standard, and we call it a passive tillage tool in a seeding element like a Pronto, etc., it's actually very beneficial when soils are changing to adjust the depths accordingly.
Yeah, you got the sand, it's gone in, got to the clay, it's ridden up.
And we adjust it automatically. And we need that. I mean, you know that as a farmer, of course. Whom do I tell that? Seeding depths like this and like this is a disaster.
You're going to do that based on pressure?
Yes, we do it based on pressure.
Yeah.
And it automatically regulates.
And will that be a band, or is it going to be individual?
Well, what we do is we have, depending on width, just a handful of sensors on a machine. On a machine like this, we would put 2 sensors. Okay. And then we regulate the entire width in one go. Huh. So it's in this example, it's 7.2 meters. Yeah. And then we just regulate 7.2 meters more or less pressure and set the depth accordingly. Works really well. Works really
And will that be able to fit it, for example, to the Certo, which I run?
Absolutely, absolutely. The Certo was actually the one where we tested it to begin with. We started 2 years ago with the Certo.
From my point of view,
And
I
it's-
can
and
see
it's
a real
retrofittable.
advantage
It's
for that.
retrofittable.
Is it?
Yes, easy.
Well, even
It
to
doesn't
ones I
require
already
much.
own?
Absolutely. It does not require much.
When's that coming?
Couple sensors. It's available. It's available.
Now?
Yes, it's available. Yeah, we can do that.
Oh.
We can do that.
I can see it's going to cost me a fortune coming to see you.
Yeah. You're going to be able to afford it.
Oh, really?
No worries. No
Okay.
worries. No worries. And just remember, it's well invested.
It is, because when you're bombing up the field at 15 kilometres an hour, you've got 100 kilometres an hour, 100 hectares a day you want to achieve.
Yeah.
You are in a range of different soil types or different cultivation techniques that can also create a change, can't it? You can't necessarily see what's going on all the time.
Yeah.
And the old-fashioned drills, like my original Sprinter, you set the depth, and because of the pure weight of it, it pretty much held it in the same place all the time.
Yeah.
Now we're going to more of a cultivate at the back.
Yeah.
We don't quite have the same type of design. So I can see what you're saying. Perfect.
Yeah, exactly.
That's going to take the guessing out of the game.
Exactly, exactly. And that's what we need. I mean, farming is a very complex thing. Of course, we all know that. And the margins in farming got lower and lower. Farming is getting more and more important. Food scarcity is a huge topic, especially as we move on. And we need to make sure that we sustainably grow good quality crops. And we are doing ever since in farming.
I saw a talk in the House of Lords, which was televised in the UK, and they said by the year 2050, we need 50% more food than we produce today.
Correct.
50%?
Correct.
Well, unless we're going to open up and take more land into farming, by removing rainforests, precisely. That means the rest of us who are farming have just got to become better at what we're doing.
Exactly. And we are, of course, all aware that we have to do it sustainably.
Yeah.
We want to do it for generations,
Yeah.
like we did in the last 4 generations already up to now. And we will be able to. Innovation goes on in any sector in the farm world.
Well, we've had
and
the
that's good.
fertiliser boom, haven't we, where that suddenly made a big impact on yields.
Yeah.
We've had the machinery and the horsepower. Yeah. We've done that. Now
digitalization is a big element.
Yeah. Now we're getting into real technical, aren't we?
Yeah.
And actually, it's quite exciting.
Yeah.
When somebody says, look, you've got to produce more food by 2050, I'm thinking, yeah, we can do this.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
Exactly. More,
as long as
better
the
food and higher
government
quality.
allows us to do it,
Yes.
and brakes aren't put in place,
Yes.
I'm actually quite excited to have a go at that.
Exactly. And saying that, we have some regulations here in Europe that hinder us.
Yes.
That is right. I hope that sensefulness comes back into our common sense comes back because in some areas we have lost common sense.
Yeah.
But I'm hopeful that common sense comes back because we are humans and most of us are common sense people. And in that respect, I'm really hopeful.
But there is
and
a
I'm
change
confident that things
politically,
go.
isn't there, around the world happening?
At the moment,
we are
yes.
seeing a shift.
At the moment, yes. And,
but you can't go, unless you're going to have a starving population around the world, you can't get past this 50%. It's coming.
But we don't want a starving situation.
No, precisely. So we've got to, as farmers, we've got to adapt to producing more food.
Absolutely.
Which means they're going to have to allow us to do it and not restrict us on water or whatever the restriction is that prevents us.
The interesting thing is, and that is something most people totally underestimate, when we look at the productivity in the farm world, how it actually changed, let's say in the last 30 years, we have gained quicker and higher levels in productivity gains than any other industrial sector in the world. Look at your farming operation. And think about it, how your father and your grandfather have farmed and how much land they could farm with how many people and how hard it was to make a living of it. And look at it, how you do it today. You have many times multiple of efficiency gains. For example, in an industry sector, we don't see this so much. For example, look at welding. When I look at a welding operation in the 80s, the length of a welding seam I was able to do in the 80s per time is not so much today from the 80s. Not so much gains. maybe a few percent, single-digit percent.
Yeah.
And in the farm world, we have a multiple. And that is actually needed. It's needed.
And we need to remove extremes, don't we? That's actually what we've got to do in farming now, which we've got to get past the extremes.
Yeah. And let's face it, when you look at the whole farming sector from a greater perspective, you could almost argue that the farm sector is the number one driver of our economies. Because we make sure that we feed people and make sure that people don't have to take care of their own food production themselves and therefore are freed up for cultural things, for art, for industry, for innovation in all kinds of different sectors. But that only works because we feed them. I mean, go 200 years back, we were all into trying to feed ourselves. We had no time to do other things. So we are actually, in a way, the driver of our modern societies. And we want to be that, and we want to do it sustainably.
When you look at that, you realise actually how important we are actually to the success of other industries.
Exactly.
And for the success of our own country.
Yeah. But saying that, we also see that lots of farmers struggle.
Yes.
Food prices are driven down.
Yes.
Everybody just looks in the stores to get the cheapest and the cheapest and cheapest food you can possibly find. And that is a challenge. But we keep working on it, and we keep working on supplying decent food, good quality, at the lowest cost possible.
And I think we're all proud to do that, aren't we?
Absolutely.
Doesn't matter which country you're from, we feel for that is our role. When we get up in the morning, we never doubt it, do we?
And James, since you say that, what I find out about farming, very interesting thing I find out. I'm traveling the entire world, and I know farmers across the globe. And interesting, farmers across the globe in all different cultures are likewise value-oriented, sustainably thinking, regardless where you go, looking forward, thinking in generations. Farmers are like around the world, and farmers farmers live from heritage in everywhere around the world. Generational topics, etc. And that is the driver of our economy. It's a value-driven, sustainable business.
And it's bred into us, one for a better word, around that kitchen table. Within the values of the family, and the grandparents, etc., and trying to constantly, drum, one for a better word, that into us of what our role is.
Yeah, absolutely. And that is something society doesn't see, because if you're not born into that, you don't see that from the outside.
You don't witness it.
Exactly, you don't witness it.
It's the kitchen table.
No, interesting. Yeah, and we keep on moving, and it's fun. It's fun to work with farmers around the globe.
I can't wait to go into the next shed and see this. Every time we turn a corner, there's something. It's like following Santa around his workshop.
That's right. It's a big playground, big toys for big boys.
Well, outside, when we walked in, you've got some machines going to Canada, haven't you?
Yeah.
And were they 24 metre?
24 meters, yeah.
I mean, they were... well, how big was the cart? 50,000 litres.
This cart that's standing out there is a cart with 30 cubic meters of seed
Yes, but the
capacity.
biggest one you said you did.
The biggest one is 50 cubic meters.
So that's like 35 tonnes, 40 tonnes?
No, that's 50 tons.
Oh, 50 tonnes?
50 tons, 50 tons cart, But that's a Canadian setup that is totally different from setups over here. Totally different.
That nearly is a mother bin.
Yeah, exactly. It's
I'm excited.
That's right. The interesting thing is in our egg industry, and that actually makes it so wonderful. The majority of our competitors are also family businesses. So there's the same values
they were always
there.
decent.
Everybody's decent to each other. We
interesting.
talk on eye to eye ever since.
And that happens now, even new people coming in, they're treated with...
Absolutely. We treat each other very well. And we have a very honest economy and industry. And you know why that is? I have a very clear logic behind that. You are always... How could I explain that? The environment which you're working in is actually building who you are, in a sense. So that means we are working with farmers. We are working in an honest environment, in a sustainable environment. And that environment is actually making us to what we are and to who we are as humans. And that's why also we manufacturers are similar.
Is
it's
it
an honest.
thing?
It's an industry thing.
Okay.
We are in an honest industry with honest customers, and that's why we also dealing well with each other, and that's why we're also dealing well with each other among competitors, even among competitors.
There must be new people coming in.
Yeah. And we always treat each other very respectful. Always has been like that. Always has been like that. And if we as competitors even have sometimes, for example, patent topics with each other, I never in my life needed a lawyer to solve it.
Really?
We always talk to each other right away, and we always find agreements, because it's always
What
the same.
happens, so if it's a French company and you're a German company?
Who cares?
It doesn't make any difference?
No, it doesn't make any difference, because we know we're always seeing each other more than once in life.
Yeah.
And we are in an honest industry.
So, obviously you and Michael are huge personalities, and who's coming up below that are going to be the next personalities for the generational business?
Yeah.
Because you could argue you are a first generation business.
Yes.
You might be multi-generational family in farming, but you're first generation machinery.
Yes.
So who's
Good point. Well, the very comfortable situation we are in is that, today we are 4 families in the business, owning and running the business, and us 4 families together we have 13 kids.
Yeah.
And the comfortable situation is that we have at least half of our kids are pushing into the company, and the first 4 are already in the company.
Yeah.
And it's showing that they are performing really well. And interestingly, among our kids, 3 of our kids actually started with a farming career, with a farming degree, with getting into farming, got the basics, like we did. We are farmers as well.
Yeah, got the basics.
So, and that was important for us to keep us as a family grounded into the farm business safely into the next generation as well. And I would even argue that some of our next generation is even more into farming than we were. So I'm absolutely confident it will keep on going.
Yeah.
I'm not worried at all. I'm not worried at all.
So the passion's there.
Absolutely.
We're going back to that round the kitchen table. Interesting.
And it's fun, it's fun. And we are in the midst. I mean, you mentioned it. Yes, we are in the midst of our generational change.
Yeah.
And I assume that in around 10 years, it will be executed in the next 10 years.
Do you find that frightening?
No.
Because in farming, a lot of generations won't step aside for the next generation because for whatever reason. And there's a skill, isn't there, in someone actually standing back. My father did it, and I'm forever proud of him for that.
Yeah.
But there is a skill in somebody saying, actually, I want that person who's my son or daughter to be better than me.
Exactly.
And that's not in everybody, is it?
Exactly. We will see. Ask me in a few years.
I will.
And check it out.
I won't
and
forget.
We will see how we really performed.
I'm okay. I only have a 12 and a 10.
Yeah.
And,
so you have time yet.
I have time.
You're lucky yet.
I'm going to be so worn out.
Yeah,
I'm going to be delighted.
Exactly.
Have children
Good point.
late. That's
Good
the
point.
solution.
That's not always something you can influence.
Well, that is true. Yeah, that is true.
It's individual tools, whether it's a time, and we can even put in complete frames in here.
How many would that do? Like 10,000 times or something?
No, usually it's about into millions.
Oh, millions?
Yeah, I'm not sure what they want to test here. Maybe it's a new material we are testing. I would have to ask him. And it's about, how well is this new material holding up? And we can do anything. So usually in our R&D, what we do first is we do computer simulation. And computer simulation got so good in the last, let's say, 5 years that I would even argue today 95% of everything is done on the computer today in terms of simulating even these kind of things. And this is only for proving the simulation or for checking the result. But the simulation basically solves it already. And we are actually to the point where we are starting to simulate soil flow around tines. Mixing of...
Why, have you got a soil bed to do that in?
No, simulating on the computer.
Oh, really?
Simulating. There's models to simulate that. We can simulate already for quite some time
pneumatic systems.
How
So
are
seed
you
flow in a
determining
pneumatic
that?
line.
Are you to build that program? Do you have to film soil?
No. This is models that were developed for different industry sectors, and we can use them.
Really?
And usually even these softwares are open source codes.
Is this for
Open source.
drilling industries, for
Yeah,
example?
yeah, maybe, or maybe open mining industry. I don't know where it comes from.
Fascinating.
So will that take into account soil types and
Yes.
moistures?
Yeah, we are starting to evaluate this. You
Right.
know, how can we add stones, different particle sizes, inhomogeneity.
Is that, Philip, so you could start to look at maybe using different metals that might be lighter?
Absolutely, all kinds of different things. I'm
Interesting.
confident that in a few years from now, hardly any testing will be required anymore in the field. And we do everything simulating, and you go out in the field and it works 99%. I think we will get there. I think we will get there.
That's extraordinary.
Yeah, it's extreme. And the good thing about it is, it helps us speeding up cycles even faster. Because we want to, as much as possible, individualize products as much as possible. So, in the worst case, looking at the individual product for the individual farmer. And therefore, we need faster cycles, new and modern technologies, etc., and push it hard. Speed is king. It's fun. It's fun.
What is that? PTO shaft?
Oh, it's a tine. Ah, look at this. What they do here. Obviously, they want to find out how the bearing where the tine is being held up works in very abrasive situations. So this is actually a liquid mixture of an extremely abrasive kernel.
Oh, yeah.
So it gets washed around, so it constantly flows into the bearing, into the pin, into the pivot point, and then basically the pivot point
And this is
cycles.
This is what farmers wouldn't necessarily ever see.
Exactly.
But they might think that it's happening on their farms when it breaks down. They
Exactly,
then do it. But
exactly.
they're not actually. I've never seen this before.
Exactly. But we want to find out, for example,
Where the stress point is, when it's gonna
we
wear.
might be testing a new pivot point material, and then we want to find out, is it better or worse than the old one? So you do a quick bench test. So this runs for a couple of weeks, and then we know already, okay, scrap this material, this is best, and now we go in the field.
So you're going to run this for a couple of weeks?
Yeah,
like this,
yeah.
See where
And then they cycle it with different materials, a bronze, a plastic, a whatsoever. And then we find out what material is the best for the pivot point, and then we go in the field and prove it in the field.
Is that constant for 2 weeks? Is that constant for 2 weeks?
Yeah, oh yeah. I should ask him how long, but it's long, it runs long.
So-
Millions of cycles, millions.
Do you think that this sort of room is actually part of your success in the fact that your machinery as a whole, you can put any version of horsepower tractor on it and we're not pulling it apart?
Yeah.
Is this a lot to do
Yeah,
with
it has a lot to do with it. It's basically mindset. Our mindset is, we are not satisfied if it breaks down.
You want to break it in here before we
Exactly,
break it, and then we say your stuff's no good.
Exactly. And you know how it is in the farm world. Farmers break anything.
Yeah.
Farmers break anything. The question is only, can we hold up longer?
Yeah.
That's the only question. That's the only question.
I'll stop it
Yeah,
now.
that's the only
Stop it
question.
now.
That's the only question. And of course, we want to be as good as possible, and there's never a limit. It always can be improved, and things break down. Because you're too brutal to our stuff. You're just too brutal.
Yeah.
We tell you, only put 250 horsepower in front of this kit, and you put 500 horsepower in front. You just do it. We tell you, not deeper than 30 centimeters with that toolkit, and you go in 40.
Always. There was a bad stage with ploughs, wasn't there? Where there were certain ploughs sold with a headstock requirement of 120 horsepower, and then people then were dragging them with 250,
Exactly.
ripping the headstocks off. You've got to over-engineer
And we
that,
wonder
haven't
why
you?
it breaks, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we wonder.
Fascinating.
Yeah, good. So what you see here
This
is a prototype.
Yeah.
Actually, they just put it together half an hour ago,
How are
and
you
it's the
getting this to
first
Canada?
time taking apart, I think, 4 containers, 4 40-foot containers.
So you'll take it into several different
Yeah.
parts.
Oh, yeah.
Right, so you've built it, you'll check it over,
Yeah.
you'll do whatever.
Yeah.
the one over there you built, you're not happy with it, so you
It
forget
goes.
that.
It goes in the trash bin. It goes in the trash bin. It goes in the trash bin.
And Cambridgeshire's not ready for it. And then you basically, you will ship this and then you'll get it to your HQ over in Canada. You'll rebuild it straight on the farm. So have you got a factory in Canada?
No, in the United States. In
you're
Fargo, North Dakota.
You're only, because this is a brand new design, you're going to design this here, and if you're happy with it, you'll then build it in Canada.
In the United States. Exactly. Basically, this is a prototype. So this is a complete new series of products. We already are building these kind of products in various configurations and various sizes. This is just a new model. And this is the first one of it. We are going to build 3 of them this year and test them in Australia and Canada.
Oh, different countries.
And then we decide as we move on.
And you build them here just as demos because you want to be all over it.
Yes.
You just want to walk out, you want to see it because it's just not practical for you to keep flying backwards and forward.
And now the next step is, we have gone through stress tests over the last couple of weeks already with some pre-prototypes already. Now the next step is, that's why they put it together, to get the pneumatic system to run and check out, is the pneumatic distribution right? Is it equal? Is it precise? Is the output okay? Is the maximum performance good? Etc. 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 And so we do all kinds of tests over the next couple of weeks. And in the second week of February, it's going to be taken apart, put in the container, and get it to Canada as quick as possible.
And when will it be running in the field? March? April?
Canada's still frozen up in March. Usually seeding season in Canada starts, depending on the area, of course, somewhere around end of April at the earliest.
Okay.
So we have to be ready to go in the field by the end of April.
How long does it take to ship?
About 6 weeks. Door to door.
It takes a long time.
6 weeks, 6 weeks.
And where do you have to go to get it on a ship from Germany, where we are?
You could basically use all kinds of different ports. Usually it goes through Bremerhaven.
Okay.
And then it goes to one of the eastern ports. It could go into the St. Lawrence River all the way up to Chicago. Okay. That would be the closest into the continent. It could be unloaded in Canada, in Ontario. Could be the east coast of the United States, depending where you go.
So there might be a bit of trucking that happens
there is
wherever
trucking.
it's going.
Yes, there's trucking. There's trucking. And hopefully not one of these kind of containers fall off the ship in the ocean, hopefully. Because that happens, apparently.
That's happened to you,
I just read an article, no, it didn't happen to us, but I read an article, there's thousands of 40-foot containers falling off ships every year.
And there are boats going out there and they're smashing the bottom off the boats because they sit just below the surface.
Some of these containers don't sink quick enough, and it's a disaster.
That's
we didn't lose the container yet, so luckily.
There are people, aren't there, smugglers going out, they're cutting holes in the top of them, going in
and
seeing what's in there. If there's any Bentleys.
So you're actually, James, you're actually getting a first view on this globally.
But it's not the 24-meter drill. It's not a new concept.
No. We have been building this for years already. We built the first time drills in 24 meters, just like this.
Right.
15 years ago. The carts were smaller back then. So this is now a complete new cart series.
Yeah.
And this is a new series as well. So we changed soil engaged parts. We added different methods to fertilizer application.
That's granular.
We increased wheel sizes for specific Canadian needs.
This is a sort of a sprinter type of drill.
Yeah, it's a sprinter. We call it sprinter.
And would they go at like 10 kilometers an hour? Would they go faster?
No, usually these type of machines are used at lower speeds
because it's wider, slower.
Not only. It's a so-called open furrow seeding. So basically, you create an open furrow. You put the seed, especially canola, on top of the furrow, soil dribbling back in and reconfirmed. So, and that process works best at speeds of around 6 to 8 kilometers.
And that's what the little wheel's for.
Yeah. 6 to 8 kilometers is a perfect speed for perfect quality. Yeah. If you go faster, you might have stepping, soil moving over from one time to the other, etc., etc.
That second time, I can see you've got
fertilizer.
But you've got that blade in the front.
Yeah.
Is that what's closing down behind the time before? Is that the point of it?
No, the front point is where the seed is being placed. Okay. The back point is actually a little bit offset to the side, about 5 centimeters.
So the fert will be shallower?
No, when it comes down into the soil, it's the same depth.
Oh, Okay.
And you actually
It's
could
just
adjust.
because of the way it's
yeah,
sort of cubed
exactly.
up, okay.
It's because it's lifted out of the ground.
Yeah.
Actually, when you put it deep in the soil, you could actually set it to a point where it's actually a little bit deeper.
Yeah.
But it's on the side, a little bit on the side.
So is fert commonplace?
Yes. Yes.
I
No,
mean-
it's fert and seed separate in this configuration.
Yeah, yeah.
But you could also, it's a
Nice.
question of how to set the
Yeah.
pneumatic system. You can also run the fertilizer and the seed in one hose into the front tine. So we are totally flexible.
But they would mostly over there put fertiliser on at drizzle.
Yes,
Because that's not necessarily
absolutely.
something we would do. it's
That's
a bit of a
exactly.
fad that
That's
can
why we
be
have
made.
4 bins on there. There
Yeah.
might be 3 different components being used.
Okay.
Also, that is also new on this version. We have worked on a totally new system of sectional control.
Yeah.
We have 8 sections on this 24 meters. So 3 meter sections,
Yeah.
individually controlled, individually metered, individually shut off, shut on.
Yeah.
So we have sectional control on this drill.
that
3 meter sections.
The Horsch Connect.
Yeah,
Is that
yeah,
what the Horsch
yeah,
Connect
yeah.
does?
It's what the Horsch Connect does. It's GPS controlled, etc., etc., etc. So it's high tech pure, high tech pure, high tech pure.
It was one of the things I've always really loved about the Horsch stuff is you generally build the biggest first and then you come smaller.
Exactly.
So
exactly.
you when you get a 12 metre machine like we run,
Yeah.
that is so well engineered and built,
Yeah.
when that's what you set
Yeah.
out to build.
Yeah.
The 3 metre stuff is just actually
Yeah.
something you build
At least
afterwards.
we try to do it this way.
Well, we haven't pulled it apart yet. And Freddie and Raymond, if there was a chance to have pulled
Yeah.
it apart,
Yeah.
they'd have done
Yeah.
it by
Yeah.
now.
Good.
So it's a dual steer, so he goes all four wheels following the tractor.
Yeah.
So he actually, like a self-propelled, you have only one track. Go around. Half, 1.5 tracks.
Are you building wheel motors on these?
Forget it. I've done this before. I've done this 30 years ago, 40 years ago. Hate it. No.
No good.
No, forget it. Forget it. Then you better buy a self-propelled.
True. Yeah.
Because then there's no difference anymore.
No.
'Cause actually it gets too expensive and too complicated. And
might as well have a self-propelled.
so then you might as well
Are
have
you-
for that purpose a self-propelled.
Are
So
you, Michael,
actually-
going to make a 12,000 litre self-propelled then?
No.
So if you want big capacity, you've got to go down the trail.
If you want the volume,
Your volume, sorry.
you got to
yes.
go down the trail, yeah.
Okay.
Because at the end, if I make a self-propelled on 12,000 liters, what am I winning when it's really
Lot of
wet?
weight.
When it's really wet.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
what I
yeah.
buy my self-propelled
Yeah.
for. I want to go up the hill when it's wet in the spring. Now in the next couple of weeks, you know. And even though I'm going down like this, I want to go up and not get stuck and spin out.
Yeah.
But we have limitations, don't we, with the trails over the self-pelts. You will go all year, won't you? You can go all year.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Oh, he's on a timer, isn't he?
Huh?
He's on a timer. He doesn't want us in the way, does he? He won't get his bonus.
track.
Yeah. He won't get his bonus. But they find that the trails won't run all as long as the self-pelts.
That's clear.
Yeah.
That's a no-brainer. Yeah.
But
This is
liquid
my-
fert
this is-
though,
this
these
is-
are good, aren't they, on liquid
Yeah,
fert?
but the lick fert we're going to talk about.
Okay, we've got a new idea. Okay.
Are you making all these drawers? Are these sold already?
Sorry?
Are these all sold? before
Everything's
you
sold.
start building?
Everything's sold. There's no stock. You can, because there's so many options. It's like with cars, you have to have basically an order, because otherwise you have always the wrong sprayer sitting in the yard of the dealer. You know?
And what's the lead time?
I think now we're back into track again. 2 years ago we didn't get parts, and so we had to stop and go and so on. The lead time was sometimes up to even 6 months. Now I think we have to ask Theo, but when we make things go hot, you know, there's an order coming in, and the dealer says, well, I got it signed, but we're not quite sure what option we want and so on. Then we say, about 6 weeks before, if he has to basically have it finalized, because then he will freeze it. You know? So I would say the normal run through by the time it's ordered and it's delivered, it's something like 2 months.
Oh, really? That quick?
Yeah, I would say it. Let's talk to Theo.
That's impressive.
Now.
It's a lovely temperature in here, isn't it?
You need to have temperature.
I mean, what does all your heating? Is it gas?
Floor. This is floor.
Oh, it's underfloor heating.
It's underfloor heating here. Yeah.
Okay.
Theo has decided he wanted underfloor heating. In Schwandorf we have
Blowers.
Not height blowers because they blow dust around. No, we have the infrared natural gas.
Okay. Because I mean, your energy costs, Michael, must be extraordinary. Must be a real.
But we take so much money off you that we easily can pay it.
Oh, I've heated the floor for today, have I?
We are the biggest single user of glass cap because they sell to us outside the glass organization.
Really?
And they now do a couple things different, specifically for us, because we're so big customer for them. And I keep telling Jan-Henrik Mohr, which is CEO of Klaas, he's a good friend of mine. I say, Jan-Henrik, the goal is that within the next 2 years we're going to beat forage harvesters. So the numbers you need for the forage harvesters should be less cabs needed than for Horsch. But they're doing a good job now.
Yeah, but as an operator, you like the cabs, don't you? Yeah.
And now we have even air suspension. Do you know? Have you seen it? Yeah. Well, basically, this is the version with the adjustable tracks.
Yeah. This is what you call the VT.
Yeah. We wouldn't use them ourselves.
No, we don't need it.
You don't need it. It's just the contractors need it, so the guy going high corners on need it. And then we have also a wide track for the Americans. It goes out to 4 meters track width. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
4 meters?
What do they want to go that wide for?
Well, that's what they want.
Okay.
120 inches, 3 meters is standard. No?
Really?
Yeah.
Very good for stability.
Yeah.
You must feel proud, Michael.
Why?
Well, when you think where you started, and you think today, I know you're going to be humble, but
You know what?
must feel proud.
You know what? I have almost forgotten about when I started.
Really? When you come and do a talk in June, can you do it on from the beginning to now?
Oh yeah.
Because actually, I think people will be one generation. They'll be absolutely blown away what you've all done.
But it's not my approach.
I know it's all of you.
It's a family's approach. Don't forget that. You see?
Oh yeah, on the back.
There's airbags here. Airbag there. This is an option.
When did that come?
Well, this is new this year.
That must make a difference.
I haven't talked to the guys yet. I would need to talk to some of our guys what the feedback of it is. But there's a reason why we have it, and there's a reason why now a few of them equipped with it.
Does that have Michael, does that
air suspension? Air suspending cab.
Look at the back of the cab. Go around the other side and have a look at the back.
will that have implications for forward speed?
Yes.
So could you increase the forward speed then because it's suspended?
That's one of the reasons why we did it. But to be honest, I haven't had enough feedback yet to tell you what the real perception of customers is right now. We have. Let's talk to our guys. Let's
just saying, James, that could have implications for forward speed.
Oh, what, to make it go slower?
Faster.
Can we do 60k?
Officially or unofficially? Because that's the rules in England, right? Yes, we do 60k. I know that. I don't know. I think in States they want to even go up to 80k's now.
It's just that there are other manufacturers, Agritechnica and Bateman. They all offer the 60k version.
No, 60k we have.
Well, we currently can't go 60.
Well, let's talk to them, guys.
Okay.
But I don't understand. If legally you can do it, I don't understand why you can't do it.
Why you can't do it? Can I just ask, Michael? That's on a parallelogram. Look, is that a new design where it comes up and down?
Yeah, because see, this is a high lift.
Oh, because it's so high up.
For him not to have to reach up that high and spill himself over with liquid fertilizer, you can just drop it down and then push it for a quick fill.
I thought you said you didn't do 3-point engine spray.
Sir? Well, we do this is a high end.
Yeah, that's a.
I'm not talking about the cheap stuff,
Yeah. Okay.
I call it. You know what? When you spray Roundup in your yard and you have this
Knapsack sprayer.
What do you call it?
Knapsack.
It's a knapsack. It's a knapsack. We've built in the last 20 months only in the last 20 months, we've built 17 acres of building.
Really?
Yeah.
Undercover, 70, 80 acres.
Yeah, includes this building, includes the factory in Brazil, includes extending Ronneburg, includes extending Schwandorf.
17 acres in a year?
In total, in 20 months.
Oh, 20 months. So I take it you're using contractors to build it. You've not got your own building department?
Oh yeah, no, it's we always have contractors, but
Yeah.
we happen to have a couple of people in the organization that do nothing but designing buildings and designing layouts of workflow and so on.
Yeah, well,
now we are
you need to get that right,
now
don't
them
you?
guys are working for Lucas in the States because he's expanding his plant in Fargo.
Okay.
I mean, we thought, okay, building is over, but it's continuing.
Yeah.
I mean, within the next 10 months, 12 months, we will add here 5,000. Probably 15, 20,000 square meter buildings.
Crumbs. Crumbs. These buildings are pretty, the way you're doing these offices.
Yeah. Well, you know who is behind that?
No.
My wife and Theo's wife.
Really?
All the everything that has to do with marketing, with furniture, with the way we present ourselves, goes all through the hand of my wife and Theo's wife. She works up there. Them two are working together for over 30 years now.
Really?
And they have the same taste. Also, the way they dress themselves, you know, they have their own taste, and they are always. And this is so.
The way you dress yourself?
I don't care. Whatever is on the top of the shelf, you know.
Michael, to make that a 48, is that physically the same frame, or are you having to make the sprayer longer to have a 48?
See, this is an old style 48.
Okay.
And see, this is a new style. You see the distance?
Yeah.
The bottom pivot point, top pivot point in here. This is actually this is actually the large center section for taking the big booms. And this used to be the smaller center section, they just added 45. I mean, those guys, this is probably a vegetable guy. He only goes 5-8 kilometers an hour through his cucumbers and strawberries and whatever, and he wants to cover 48 or 50 meters. In Holland, we have lots of them. They go very slow. So this is old style, this is new style.
Yeah.
I think this is a 48 meter aspirator.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you wouldn't believe how many big farms up north are switching from 36 to 48 and ordering this, pre-ordering this, because we have a limited number we sell.
Yeah.
And it's basically, it is this why they go 48.
Is it?
If you didn't have this,
Because that's what's been restricted.
because they don't want to go liquid, they want to stay with dry fertilizer. No?
Why do they want to stay dry fertilizer?
Because it's so much more efficient.
Is liquid not popular over here?
Yeah, liquid. I mean, we've been there for 30 years, for 40 years. We've been in and out of liquid. You need separate logistics and so on. Yes, we still do liquid, but if you want, I mean, we just discussed this yesterday, you remember? Once we're spoon feeding nitrogen fertilizer. I mean, so you you have to have one sprayer dedicated only to do liquid. You cannot do chemicals with it because you have no time.
Wouldn't get a scorch anymore. How much yield do we lose in scorch?
Well,
And so what them guys are doing, they're taking these spreaders and keep them going take cheap urea and keep them going all year round.
How do you fill them?
That's the next thing. We're actually right now.
You're smiling now. Come on, where's the shed?
Right now, this is what some of the guys up there north complaining that the filling is not quick enough because this thing is so fast. Unloading.
That's interesting.
But we're still in a process of limited numbers sold, you know.
Yeah.
And
That's one as well, isn't it?
that's a 48 meter too. No, 36. This is 36. 48 is triple fold. You see, this is double fold. Double fold. This is 36, and this is 48.
Okay.
This is a used one. This one has been.
Okay, because it is the filling of it is where I can't quite work out how we're going to do that. Because
one big customer up, he farms about 8,000 hectares near Rostock. he had the first ones like this, and he goes all 48. Now he does on the sprayers now, and he has this year I think 2 of those 48 spreaders.
Oh, I know what we need. A mother bin.
Yeah.
We need the mother bin. We can use it for fert.
Listen to me. Listen. What we are now thinking about is this 4-axle trucks. You know, 4-axle trucks, all driven axles.
8-wheelers.
8-wheelers.
Yeah.
And then put a box on, like we built, you know, the tip box with this belt conveyor in the back, where we quick fill them with 3 tons a minute.
I mean, when I walked in, I just went, wow.
Well, we call this marriage, you know. Yeah, we marry the chassis with the boom.
Oh, this is where the boom's put on it?
Yeah. Because we don't put the boom all over there.
No, okay.
Over there, it's small, it's tight areas, which is assemble. Then we bring them here and put the booms on.
Oh, you assemble the booms in here?
Yes, the booms go in here and get married, and then they get married. Yeah.
Okay.
And so this is
Is this a 48?
48.
Is this 48?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Surely not.
Yeah.
Is it
This
really?
is 48. This is a 48 because it's a triple fold. Folds here, folds here, folds there. Yeah. That's a 48.
Is that a 48?
Yeah.
Well, I've never seen one. You know, that doesn't look ridiculous. Michael, is the boom on this 48 the same as the way that it behaves on the 36? Or is it actually better?
Let's talk this to Theo.
Okay.
Theo tells you also the truth.
Okay.
But I'm told that we're basically from the boom leveling, there's no difference. But let's talk to Theo about this. Yeah?
Okay, yeah, no problem.
And the assembly for booms and the marriage here is geared for 1,000 self-built sprayers a year and 2,000 pull-type sprayers a year. And that's here, and now we're building a similar unit in Brazil. So we're not gonna ship any more sprayers from here to Brazil. We're gonna build them there.
You're going to build them there, but
We
where
have
are you
to,
going
we
to
have
get
to.
parts from? You'll ship
From
parts
Brazil.
from here?
From Brazil, because we have to, because of phenomenon, because of tech for custom reasons. Huh?
You got an import tax problem, haven't you?
Yeah. Well, we build the booms there, we build the chassis there, we buy the engines from FPT in Brazil. Even Rexroad has a manufacturing in Brazil. So we have to reach over 70%, 75% local content. Otherwise, we have to pay 20-30% tax customs.
Are the engines in these actually a Fiat powertrain?
Sorry?
Are the engines a Fiat powertrain?
We always use FPT.
I didn't realise that. Even
Because-
the ones we have are
Yeah,
Fiat.
it's because the only reason to go to FPT is because they have factories all over the world, and they seem to have pretty reliable engines and good service.
Okay, good service, yeah.
I like that joystick.
It's a nice little joystick.
Yeah.
So there's your cruise 1 and 2.
Yeah, these are the cruise controls.
But you can change them all around.
Minus nozzles.
If you put, you see, so with these buttons here, you control all of these.
Yeah.
And you have this information button here.
Yeah.
If you push this one, you will see the selection on the joystick. So as you said, like the C1 and C2 are the cruise controls.
Yeah.
The Horsch button is always nozzles on and nozzles off.
master.
So this will always be the same. And all the other functions you can select in the menu which function you want to.
So that one's your
this
height.
one would
Yeah,
be
so
the
you can
cruise
change it.
control.
You can change it to whatever you want.
Yeah,
It's
correct.
all interchangeable like the fence. That's quite nice.
And also, if you scroll to the second page, it's the same with this one.
Yeah.
You have some symbols
some
on that.
combines.
So those are fixed to the functions, but B1 to B4 and also up
All
up
those.
there,
That's
you
really
can
good,
select
yeah.
that on your own.
23rd of January, we just realised it's dark outside now. It's a lot later than we thought it was. We got here at 8 o'clock this morning. Day 2 of taking my Horsch injections. So here with Michael and Theo. Today we've been at the sprayer factory, which I've actually never been to before. And there were moments when we went into sheds and all I had to say was, wow. Mm-hmm. And 48 metre booms unfolded with, which were actually in test, weren't they? They were spraying. And it's an extraordinary place. And I don't know how many machines are out in the car park, but they look to be probably a good 30 plus.
Yeah, I think it's nearly 80 at the moment.
Is 80 of them?
80.
Right, so there's some happy customers
Waiting for it.
Waiting, yeah.
They're all sold, no problem.
Get a late Christmas present. Yeah. Oh, well, yeah. As they're there built, they haven't got a problem when spring starts. Yeah. So it's been a great. We're in the R&D department now, and we've spent about a few hours now, haven't we, going through new ideas, old ideas, thrashing around the table. You know, where do we think farming's going? The general chat. What have we got to invest in? And then Michael's convincing me about spending too much money, and then suddenly realised what he was telling me, and now he's changed his mind, I think.
Hopefully not in machines.
Yeah. Basically, James, don't spend too much money on everything else, but I'm very happy for you to buy machines.
Only in fertilizer.
Don't spend in chemicals and fertilizer.
I was just trying to be honest.
So, and then we just spent a bit of time. It's a big group of farmers, you were saying, in Germany, about how they perform top and bottle and mid. And benchmarking, obviously, something that we don't really do in the UK, and there wouldn't be sort of a group that I would know of or be part of that would actually want to have an open book policy, not only just in your growing costs, but actually in your own personal costs and the money you're taking out of the business and things. And that actually is quite an interesting aspect about where the range of profit is made in farming and the difference between them. And we're looking at some of the data, though. It isn't always about the yield, but more so about what's being spent, more so than the output. So, because there's a lot of land difference. But the one take-home I did get was that the ones who performed the very best were ring-fence farms.
Yes.
So there's no hope for me then. That was my take-home message. No, well, thank you very much, chaps, for putting up with us for 2 days. We've really enjoyed it. And last night we got to spend time with the American and Canadian farmers who, some of them had some huge numbers of cattle, huge numbers of area. But actually what was extraordinary was the fact that we almost had the same problems, which really surprised me. And their number one problem was what I won't forget was political.
Well, they were the same.
Yeah.
It does seem to be the same currently in farming. But, no, well, thank you very much for looking after us, and we've really enjoyed it.
Thank you for having you here.
Thank you for coming.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you.
So it's currently the 25th of January. We've had a good 2 days at Horsch, really interesting, really nice to see around all the factories. I think James had a few too many early mornings and late nights. It's currently having it happen, it's Range Rover. We luckily got a good day skiing, which was very nice, phenomenal day, great piece. As you can see, a few of us had a couple of whoopsies, but life goes on, we're just on the way back, so yeah, back to work Monday morning and keep cracking on.